Noisy Pixel. Prinny 1 and 2 Exploded and Reloaded are spin-offs from the Disgaea series released in the PSP back in 2008 and 2010. Now they're being re-released with HD textures along with all the DLC that came along with them. Through many moments of the button mashing and side-scrolling action, there's a story of a forgotten hero that can be found in this zany adventure.
Hello? Will you give me a rare item?
Rare item?
Prinny 1 and 2 has players play as a demon race known as Prinny. The publisher has decided to release these titles separately, digitally, but they play more or less the same, so let's just break down the stories. And Prinny can really be the hero. Master Enna discovers that an ultra dessert has been eaten, and she taxes the Prinnys to go and retrieve all 6 ingredients from 6 different worlds to make a whole new ultra dessert for herself. In Prinny 2 Dawn of Operation Panties Dude, Master Enna discovers that her panties have been stolen. She sends the little Prinnys to once again risk their lives and retrieve what has been stolen from her. Each adventure is pretty short, so they don't overstay the welcome in that regard. But that doesn't stop them from being ungodly difficult. For starters, you only have 1,000 lives to get through the whole game, which seems like a lot, but trust me, you're gonna fly through them pretty quickly. On some levels, I found myself burning through 10 to 15 lives in a matter of minutes. And don't get me started on the bosses who take multiple tries to understand their attack patterns. I played each adventure on the normal difficulty, which is what I recommend using because you get 3 hit points as opposed to playing on hard where you only get 1. As you can imagine, only playing with 1 hit point can get pretty aggravating unless you're into that sort of challenge. Still, I would recommend at least trying the more difficult modes, if only to test the skills you developed. Prinny 2 does add a few extra mechanics such as a damage buff which activates once you fill up the combo bar. In the first title, the combo bar was just there but to only give you a few extra points. This added feature makes it more useful and actually gives you a reason to want to fill it up. Another added mechanic is the powered up ground pound. It can be used to take out strong enemies, and let's not forget also the spinning technique. It took the already existing Prinny spin and added some damage to it, so whenever you're in a pickle, just take out the spin and deal some extra damage if you need to. Prinny 1 and 2 has one glaring issue that makes for some pretty frustrating gameplay moments. While double jumping, once you initiate that second jump, you're locked in that direction and can't change where you want to land. This can overall lead to multiple deaths if you accidentally overcompensate the distance of a ledge or misjudge the distance of an enemy. For the most part, the controls take some getting used to and come off like a product over time. In the long run, you can adjust and improve, but it's tough to get comfortable. But jumping aside, the enemies are pretty formidable. There are times you encounter foes who simply have a random attack pattern or they're flying in a circle, or there's even some who pop out of the corner of the screen and send you down to a quick death. Luckily, there are checkpoints, so it's possible to get your revenge. Surprisingly, even though the game is difficult, there is plenty of fun to discover in this adventure. It becomes one of those games where you take the challenge head on and don't let it defeat you. Yeah, the game made me frustrated at some points, but the fact that it didn't really take itself seriously made it more enjoyable. Further, the level design is impressive. The enemies are unique and the soundtrack fits each stage perfectly. It all equates back to the environments that don't feel like a copy and pasted version of themselves, making the entire experience less repetitive. The Switch version of Prinny 1 and 2 ran and looked decent with their upscale textures. Visually, there's not much you can do for a game that still resembles its PSP counterpart. If anything, this release just puts the series back on the radar for a possible third entry. Outside of that, the added DLC only sweetens the pot.
After all, that is the proper way for a gentleman to act.
Prinny 1 and 2 Exploded and Reloaded is a great title for the Switch as it is for the PSP. It's challenging 2D platforming calls for many moments of frustration, but you'd be hard pressed not to want to jump right back in and try again. The platforming physics can come off a bit dated, but the excellent level design and the genuinely unique experience that these adventures offer make up for the most part what lacks mechanically. Noisy Pixel is going to give Prinny 1 and 2 Exploded and Reloaded a 7.5 out of 10. As always guys, thank you very much for watching another Noisy Pixel review. Make sure to read the review over at noisypixel.net. Also guys, do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss anything from Noisy Pixel in the future. This has been John, see you on the next one.